Chapter 5 Teamwork. The youth of today are the people of tomorrow, the leaders of the future, and the source of energy for being successful. There are a number of essential requirements that provide wholeness in the consciousness of the believer, including giving lectures, getting to know one another, sharing experiences, promoting those who show promise, motivating the industrious, getting people together and uniting them, teaching the principles of faith, and using scientific logic when planning volunteer work. This is what enables our teams to achieve their mission with cooperative effort when accompanied by prior planning. Group work must be conducted through planning based upon a strategic vision, on condition that all must commit to do their best and begin where others have left off. Our role as believers is to complete the work of those before us and understand the role of experience and the accumulation of knowledge in the various fields of volunteer work. We cannot imagine an effort that gains strength and establishes a real presence for itself and has a bright future unless it is part and parcel of the vitality embedded in our young men and women. They are the adults of tomorrow, the leaders of the future, and the most energy-laden workers who can be productive and achieve. Believers must encourage others to cooperate for the sake of Allah and for the sake of establishing cooperative efforts aimed at providing services to society. Believers must first and foremost work together for goodness and for establishing God consciousness, and they must work as one for the public good. Along these lines, a dedicated group of mentors must take it upon themselves to encourage everyone and bring them together so they can get to know one another, engage in teamwork, and share advice. Everyone must work as a team for the sake of reform and righteousness. Volunteer work must follow a middle path between adherence to the organizational hierarchy that it is affiliated with on the one hand, and unlimited freedom of action when it is an individual effort on the other. It is essential to understand the differences between the two poles and to be aware of them in order to ensure better results. Centralization of collective efforts has great value due to the complementary nature that is established between the efforts of the group's members. We must avoid close-minded individual activism, which saps us of our strength and spreads the diseases of narcissism and jealousy. Overcoming these obstacles provides for a growth spurt in collective action that achieves our dreams and multiplies our efforts. It is extremely important for us to ingrain the higher values of faith, which include togetherness, adherence to the guidance of Allah, cooperating to spread goodness, God consciousness, and avoiding discord and disunity. Togetherness, love, and united efforts are values that together enable success. Working at the individual level does bring some results, but it is limited to certain areas. This reduces its benefits and lessens its effects. It is therefore better to focus on collective effort that is guided by a comprehensive strategic vision and to allocate a lesser amount of importance to individualist activists and their affairs. We must continue our involvement with institutional efforts and the pursuit of methodical work that possesses the two essential elements of seriousness and continuity. Institutions are the means for better collective efforts. Work cooperatively with your brothers and sisters to build institutions and make sure you make them operative and capable. Afterward, you may hand them over to those who will take responsibility for them, raise their level of work, and continue their mission. It is essential that the worker who is engaged in volunteer work efforts believes that teamwork is better and more productive than the individualist work. This is elementary and does not need discussion. Although a team is composed of individuals at its base, its actual output is many times greater than the sum of the output of each individual member. Organized institutional work is the secret key for all those who desire to contribute and be of service. This is evidenced by the life story of the Prophet and his legacy. What is required here is for the spirit of teamwork to preside in the arena of institutional activism and in all group efforts. This culture must permeate our practical lives, which are in turn linked to our volunteer work. In this way, each individual does not begin from scratch. Rather, they begin where their colleagues who preceded them left off. We complement each other and we embody the culture of the edifice of strength. When we link hands together, our vitality increases and our devotion strengthens. And ultimately, the team produces in 1 year what isolated individuals produce in 10 years or more. We must learn to invest our time better. We must take advantage of every second we have. Our formula for group work should be 1 + 1 = 11, rather than the normal mathematical model of 1 + 1 = 2. The law of collective effort is based on the multiplication many times over of what individuals produce. Thus, all our results end up being much better. We must receive training on how to engage in organized volunteer work through the framework of teams. Our work should not comprise of mere individual efforts conducted by each person on his or her own and devoid of any overarching coordination. We must go beyond limited individualism and seek out group-oriented achievements. In fact, this is actually easier to do as well as being more effective. It is natural and preferable to acknowledge the efforts of other believers and to thank them for their efforts. By doing so, we may overcome our own egocentrism and greed and focus on serving others. Institutional work has guiding principles that must be understood by the workers and used as beacons to the right path. Firstly, we must have strong faith in the importance of their tasks, and we seek to accomplish and approach our work with motivation and enthusiasm. As our work continues, our experience and our inner incentives increase. This leads to one success after another, and what we are involved in achieving is indeed a source of pride for all of us because we all participated. Our responsibility as believers is to maintain our complementarity and our collaboration so that no dissension befalls us. We must accept from all contributors what they are able to provide, even if they were present for a short time. As we engage in our work, we must feel as if we are the person with primary responsibility, and that the mission is our very own. At the end of the day, our single most important goal is closeness to our Creator, and what ultimately distinguishes us from each other is our dedication to our Supreme Master.